nothing, nah, worry we know. No one think a happy thought, one chant a happy chant, one laugh, oh, me want laugh and dance, oh, me want to dance. Give thanks for life with a grateful heart. Oh my, what a joy when we do that. Want a better day? So pray me, I go pray and forget the things from the past that make me frown. So when them think they, I try to come around, I wave my hands in the air and say bye-bye. Bye-bye. No worry, nice side. Can't conquer right. No, not this time. No, nothing, nah, worry we know. Nothing can't bother we soon. Nothing, nah, worry we know. No.
WEFM 99.9.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
I nearly said good morning to you. I forgot I done said that already for the morning.
To me?
To the people.
So it's not what I
To the
mean. You may have
listeners.
somebody who just tuned in, so
Well, that is true.
yeah, you can still sit.
It's true. So good morning, SVG. By now we should be a little bit more up and, well, some people are already up and out, right? But for those of you who have the privilege of being at home, we are here in our Activated Mornings, our final Activated Morning segment for this morning. It's Talk to Us. Who is us? Dianna and Roleza and the fellow listeners of WEFM, right? So talk to us. If we want to say that in Creole, Roleza, how are you going to say it?
Talk to me. No, talk to me.
Talk to Awi.
Well, it's true. It's true.
Talk to me or talk to Awi.
Talk to Awi. Right. That's true.
All right. But talk to us here this morning. Remember, you can call. So at this part of the program, we'd like you to call, interact with us a bit more, share your thoughts, ask questions where you need to ask questions. And the number to do that is 457-9997. 457-9997. That's the number to call to be a part of this session, this segment here. This morning on our topic, we
already have a caller.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Of course, I am being stimulated when I hear that talk and so on, Yeah, but I'm speaking like this, because I am so proud of Shafiqa Maloney and the attention she's getting from not only St. Vincent and the Grenadines of late, I would say, but from the entire Caribbean. And I want to thank Sports Max, cream of the crop, creme de la creme, insofar as sports report is concerned within our Caribbean, because they were the ones who brought our Shafiqa Maloney to international attention. That homeless girl at one time, well, she's still struggling. But I had the pleasure of listening to her on Sportsmax and the sort of interviews conducted by Ricardo Chambers, Lance Whitaker. These are names that we all should, younger people in the business should listen to and hear how to do their interviews and so on. And I'm so happy. I have to thank them publicly as a Vincentian who love my people. Whether they love me or not, I don't care. I love my Vincentian people. And anytime they excel, I am behind them and supporting them 100%. So I have to hear her, and she brings such upliftment to me, even though I'm not a woman. But I don't look at it that way, woman. I look at everybody together. But she brings so much upliftment to me, and I wish all those other women in our country could lift themselves up like Shafiqa, to know all what she had to go through. And today they're speaking about her. as the first female to do this and to do that and so on, which is an accolade that I think a lot of intentions carry understand and appreciate yet. So when you hear my passion about Shafiqua, it's because of all of this. And I am hoping that her performance at the recent Olympics and all the good things that have been said about her can bring about a change in those of us who have negative minds against one another. God bless Shafiqua. And the government, as they were saying on Sportsmax, I hope you realize the treasure you have right now and put you spend money otherwise sometimes that don't make sense, put it into Shafiqua, and she will be what she's supposed to be, as a beacon, as a symbol to other women in Vinci-land. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, Dave. Thanks very much. All right. So, yes, we continue to be proud of Shafiqua and her accomplishments, as well as that of Handel. And yes, we're hoping that based on the developments, as we expressed before during the week, that based on the work that they have put in, they've put us on the stage that that interest in them will be continued, and not just at this period in time, but for continuity, right? So we have to be behind them and continue to support them morally and financially as well. Okay, so yes, just to echo that point that Dave brought out. All right. So yes, this is the Talk to Us segment where you are free to call in and discuss anything with us, any particular topic with us. All right. So as usual, I'm going to give 10 seconds for if somebody else chooses to call in. I just want to give a shout out to Backstreet Gang in Union Island and the other gentleman who normally calls. Haven't heard from him in a while. So I'm hoping that all is well. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Charlie's Angels.
We missed one, but yeah, good morning.
Yes, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. How are you all?
We're fine, and you?
Yeah, okay.
Right. Now, I say very good morning to Mr. Weeks. I listen forward every morning for his commentary on it. I enjoy it very much. I used to enjoy him while he was on Issue at Hands also. I used to enjoy his contribution.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my little bit this morning is about other people's problems. Okay? Now, while I was in England, I was at a very large company. And I was one of over hundreds that was chosen to work as a first contact counselor. Meaning that if there was a member of staff who had a problem, they would have come to me as the first open gate. And if the problem was too much for me, then I pass it on. So I started practicing, but I practiced a very bad habit. If you had come to me with a problem, after our discussion, I'll say to you, okay, leave it to me, which was a very bad thing I was doing. Then I was sent on a training course, and there were 21 of us. We had 2 female tutors and 1 male. At the end of the course, we had to do a presentation. So I made my presentation, and when I finished, they called me in the office. And they said to me they enjoyed my presentation, but they felt sorry for me. And I thought to myself, my God. So I asked why. They said, well, the way you came over, you sound as if you can solve people's problem for them, but you cannot. They say if you don't be careful, you will be burnt out and you will need help. Now, for instance, they say, when I tell a person, you come to me with a problem, and we discuss it, and I tell you to leave it to me. Now, I take your problem off your shoulders and put it onto mine. So when I come back, when I can't get it solved, now when I come back to you, I say, I'm very sorry. Now, I become very depressed and so on. So one got to be very careful. As they said, they can help a person work through with their problems, You give the best advice, and it's up to them to take it or not. So that is my little bit this morning.
And I am
And good morning, Dave. Yes, I've been chosen as one of the hundreds. I mean, the company I work for had thousands of workers. But I was chosen as one of the people to train as a first contact counselor. And I enjoyed it very much. And right now, I can help you. If you have a little problem, you can come to me. No problem. All right.
But to engage you a bit, that is always one of the things I have to question sometimes. Who counsels the counselor? Because
that's right.
There are instances where, when I initially, so my goal when I was in Form 3, I wanted to become a social worker, right? I actually went down to UE when I went down, it was for me to become a social worker, right? And then I switched as soon as I went down. And then there are times when I look back and I'm wondering if I would have really been effective enough in it, right? And even up to yesterday, I thought about it again, because I'm saying, when you have to become like a social worker or a counselor, how easy is it for you to be in a sense where you remove yourself? Hi?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, how easy it is.
That's what they want. Yeah.
Right.
That's what they want me about. They say, if I don't be careful, I'll be burnt out and I will need help. And I thought to myself, oh my God, so I continue doing it, but I changed my by telling the person, leave it. I mean, once you come to me with a problem and I said to you, leave your problem to me, well, I take it off you and I put it on myself. And if I can't get it solved, then I got to come back to you and say, I'm sorry. And then I get myself depressed, so I thought I'll put that little bit in this morning.
All right, no problem. Well, Dianna and I will talk about it a bit further. All right, no problem.
Listen, now you say you listen to me on Sundays with Camille and Sunday Classic.
I try to listen more Sundays. I don't want to get through every Sunday, but most Sundays, right?
He's off the next 2 Sundays and he's on vacation. Now, I would like you to listen to one of my favorite record that I always ask you to play. And it's called Devoted to You by the Heavenly Brothers. I think it's a beautiful song.
I think I should know that. But I write it down. I think I should know it. Yeah. I listen to it.
Man, it's beautiful. Okay, I'm devoted to you, okay?
All right.
Thank you very, very much indeed. And you both have a very good day. Enjoy yourselves. Don't overwork.
I'm going to try to remember that part. All right. Thank you.
All
right.
Okay, all the best.
To you as well. Thanks. All right. So just to expand a bit on what Mr. Mason said, it is one of those things that I tend to question. I think there are some professions where it's so difficult to do. Teaching is one of those professions. I know I mentioned social worker, but teaching is one of those professions as well, where you end up being so concerned about the students who come to you. And it is difficult for you because you're human, right? You are going to take on emotions. You are going to always be thinking about somebody else's needs. But it's so difficult. And as I was talking about the point of being a social worker, where I wondered if I would have become depressed in a sense, or I would have become dismissive. It might have come to one extreme to the other. And dismissive in the sense where it's not that I'm not going to care. I'm going to care, but I'd have to maybe just leave the care in a sense when I leave work or leave wherever it is I would have gone to. And when I get home, just look at home as being my sanctuary and be dismissive of everything else that has been going on,
Wow. It's funny that you mentioned that, because as a teacher before, those two things that you mentioned, they are things that I did eventually, but that was when, my mental health started to get affected. I was dismissive at home with with who I live with, right? So yes, these are things that can happen. And I have heard persons mention before, who counsels the counselor? Somebody asked that very question before, who counsels the counselor? I've heard counselors say that they would form little groups, support groups. Some of them, they would talk to each other. If your friend is a counselor, they would talk to each other. But that is a very heavy profession indeed, where you have to listen. Everything goes into your body. You eat your food, and the food has an effect on your body. And I think it's the same way with whatever else you deal with, whatever you have to encounter, you internalize it at some point. It's inside of you. You're going to think about it. You're probably going to want to act on it. I cannot imagine, having such a profession, because boy, I just take on things. I take on things. So big up to the counselors, who are managing and able to do this thing. So kudos to you.
All right. So good morning to Samantha who's watching on the live. One of the things that I've had to learn over time is that I can't take on other people's problems. Right? I legit had to learn not to do it. I cannot take on. I would give you advice. And my thing with giving people advice, right? I have no problems if you're coming to me and we're going to talk about the same thing over and over. You could come to me and vent. I always tell people that you could come to me and vent. I have no problems with that. But what it is that I want to see when you're venting, you're also going to tell me ways in which you're trying to get out of whatever situation it is that you're venting about. Like I had a coworker, right? I've worked several places, so nobody could pinpoint which coworker I'm talking about, right? But I once had a coworker. Every minute she complaining about the work, right? Don't want to be there, complain about that. I would say, have you sent out applications somewhere else? The answer was always no. How can you be coming to me and venting continuously about not wanting to be where you are, but you're not doing anything to change your situation?
So that's interesting, because I'm wondering what's the reason why the person would not have sent out an application, even though they're complaining about this.
I think that there are some persons who love to wallow in self-pity.
That is correct,
Right? There are some persons who thrive on just being grumpy, being miserable, and being miserable to everybody else and bringing on everybody else's spirits. That is
true.
There are some persons who I am firmly believe in that, right? So my whole thing is that there is no problem with you coming to us and talking to us about whatever it is that's going on with you. But you have to be making an effort to change the circumstances of your life.
And well, for that part, as you said, there are persons who just generally like to be miserable, and it's they wear it as a crown, right? But then there are those others who it seems as though they're not trying to make a move, but mental illness is a kind of thing, and it's big and it's small, because we know the very large mental illnesses that affect your life severely, and then there are the smaller ones that sort of go unnoticed, and they can kind of prohibit you from doing certain things.
And I can understand that. I know that when you find yourself in a particular phase, it's difficult to see past it.
Yes.
Right. But my whole thing is that you have to be making steps. You have to take steps. Yes. And I'm just using jobs here as an example. It could even be relationships, right? You are not happy where you are. Yes, you feel that whole cloud that is pulling you down, that is draining you. But something as simple, I always tell people, like seeing an ad in the newspaper. You want to apply for a particular job, right? Yes, you may already be in your whole phase of maybe this isn't going to work out. Maybe I'm not qualified enough for it. But the point is, if you send in that application, there is a 50-50 chance that you can get the job. Getting that job would be the first step to you breaking free from whatever it is that you are going through that is weighing you down. There are times when, yes, it is that we take on so much in life that we can't see the way out, but you have to make a step. You have to take a step. Yeah. And in taking that step, that is how you end up seeing the cloud starting to disappear, because your life and things within your life, it's going to start to change.
Accurate. And that first step is usually the hardest step. So that's why it takes some people so long to take that first step. But you have to do it. You have to find, if not the inner strength, and get the outer strength from somebody, right? You usually have to do that. Find something that is going to propel you forward. It's kind of sad that sometimes people tend to not make this first step until it's, the situation is almost critical, right? It's sad, but good that they still make this step, right? So there's also fear. Fear is a serious thing. I was surprised in life at how fear kept me back, kept me from doing things that I know I could do, kept me from not from missing opportunities, exactly, because of fear. When I saw that, sometimes you really have to, it's hard to have to fight yourself, especially when yourself, I hope this makes sense, when yourself is fighting you. It's a really hard battle dealing with yourself because you cannot get away from you. You are you. If you upset me, Roleza, I could walk away from you. If you want to, hold some sort of strain with me, I could walk away from you, but you cannot walk away from yourself. So as hard as it tends to be, you still have to find something. Boy, you have to look hard, find the strength to look hard, beg somebody for strength to look hard and move on.
All right. Caller, you have a minute. Hi, caller. Good morning.
I want to make the first step with you. How about that?
You want to make the first step with me? Let me write down a list of what my first steps would entail. He gone. Let me write down a list of what my first steps would entail. But
what is this?
But to get back to it, in terms of taking on other people's problems, the whole thing too is that sometimes you have to know where to draw the line, right? Because in trying to take on other person's situations, other person's responsibilities, other person's problems, even if they're just venting to you, it also has an impact on how you are going to function as a person, right? So I think that there are times when you can listen, but you also have to know where to set your boundaries, right? Because there are sometimes, if something is heavy with me, I would ask a good friend, do you have, you really should ask persons, do you have the mental capacity to have this conversation with me? Because I might be coming to you when you already, have you ever had somebody, I'm not talking, just chop it up. Have you ever had a situation where you are not okay? And then somebody messages you with a problem, and then you don't know how to deal with your own situation, plus try to give them advice.
Unfortunately, the person that I have been and I'm trying to change this, I would leave my problem and try to deal with other people's problems. That's not a good thing to do. Because I had that. It's funny that you would ask that, because I've had many times where I've been dealing with my mental health and I'm not well, and a friend comes to me, and then there's this thing in me and I don't want to make them feel bad, and I care about my friends, so I put aside everything that is bothering me, and here I come trying to make things better for you. And as soon as I'm done trying to make things better for you, I go right back to whatever was bothering me, and back in the dark hole, so to speak.
Yes, I think sometimes you really should ask, if you know you're coming to a friend with something that's heavy, ask them, do you have the mental capacity to deal with this with me? Now, the thing of it is that you may not want to turn away that friend, because it might be something that they need to have addressed urgently. But there are times when you know that you just cannot take on anything extra.
Exactly.
You just can't. But
storage full.
Storage overflowing, trash bin need to empty, that kind of situation where everything you just need to clear, and then,
Yes.
So I think sometimes we ourselves have to be a little bit more mindful as well. But be a friend, but you also have to know how to protect yourself.
Yes. So be a friend, and be a friend to yourself as well. Be a friend to yourself first. And sometimes people do this and it comes off as selfish, but really selfish, we look at selfish to be something bad, but sometimes you have to put yourself first, because it's trying to force through something that you can't do it, but you're trying to force through for whatever reason. You can cause more harm than good.
Yeah, I legit sometimes, if I know that I can't deal with something at the time, I could see a message coming. You could read the messages on the front of the phone, whatever you call that. I would read the message. If I know I can't deal with it, I leave the messages unread.
Okay.
Right? I don't read them. I don't open them, so that when I know that I'm in a better frame of mind, I would get back to it.
I like that method. Some persons may misunderstand it, because these are the real life scenarios. People might see you as you're ignoring me. Imagine I reach out to you in this time of need and you didn't. But, people would need to understand that, if I could say that, the sick can't heal the sick.
No, at least
the blind can't lead the blind, so.
I would know, but I would tell persons it depends on who it is too, but I would tell persons that I was just taking a bit of time to myself, and I could deal with this now, right? But you had to deal with yourself first, because otherwise, what they're saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
We can't be empty cups out here, okay?
Exactamente.
All right, so this concludes our Talk to Us session for today, and talked about a couple of things, but not pouring from an empty cup was the main topic. All right, so we are going to jump out of this segment at this time and bring to you today's Community Dateline.
99.